you're doing, okay, and the importance of it. Does everybody find out? Why? Because a person like a general sending people to their deaths, he's got to have some humanity. What's going to give him that except poetry, right? You get my point?
No.
An understanding of those things. The women who have to support that particular lifestyle. I mentioned the Japanese because the Japanese are in the same situation that we are in. After World War II, could Japan have an army? No. No army for 100 years, right? No army. Now, how are we going to protect ourselves? They make the book, it's called The Art of War for Women. Interesting strategy. How do we fight? Well, we got to fight like women. Does that mean we're women? Does that mean we're gay? No, seriously. Or does that mean we're effeminate? Not at all. What did they call the Shahada in Mecca? Shahada Nisa. When we took the Shahada in Mecca, in the time of the Meccan period, it was called the Shahada of women. Why? Because there was no fighting involved. You had to be patient. You get my point? And if you couldn't take it, what you got to do? Go to Abyssinia. Get out. There's no fighting back here. Not during this phase. So what we need to do is the same strategy that Japan took. They didn't let themselves get overrun because they didn't have no army. What did they do? Somebody tell me.
Technology is one thing.
Oh, before they got to technology, they didn't just pop out technology. What they do with all those generals there, Dean? You and the Air Force guys, you got the biggest base in Japan. Was it Kadena? Kadena Air Force Base. Right? What did the Japanese do? That's why history is important. They took all those generals, and they made them CEOs. They put them in charge of, instead of no more brigades, they put them in charge of companies. Okay? Their supply officer, they put him as Minister of Defense. Minister of Interior. To make sure everybody's getting what they're supposed to get. And they ran those companies like they with the discipline of warriors. And then they made themselves impacting on the business line. To the point that you couldn't attack them. Because their economic game was strong. Their educational game was strong. They put a freeze on teachers. Every teacher, whatever classroom you were in, that's your classroom for life. You're a third grade teacher, you're going to be a third grade teacher. So what happens if a teacher teaches the same grade for 4 or 5 years, 10 years, 16 years, 25 years? They know their craft. You get my point? You come into that room, they got you. They know how to take you from point A to Z in their skill. They kept people in position so the cob could work. So it's a well-oiled machine. Everybody follow me?
No.
And they're on the verge of getting their army back right now. And they did not miss a beat. They were not seen as weak or ineffective at all during that period where they couldn't have an army. What do you think is going to happen when they get an army?
They're going to fight.
In their culture, he said they're going to fight. In the Asian culture, they go to an extreme. What do they do with their parents? They worship them. Right? We say that's an extreme. But in that is an origin of what's supposed to happen. Because Allah says, وَعْبُدُ اللَّهِ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. Which some of the ulama, when they explain it, they say you do everything but worship your parents. You get my point? وَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا أُفْ. Right? You can't say oof. You can't suck your teeth. Can't say no. Your father can make you divorce a woman you love. Right? Ibn Umar says in the hadith, كَانَ تَحْتِي إِمْرَأَةٍ كُنْتُ أُحِبُّهَا. I had a woman under me, I used to love her, but my father didn't like her. فَأَمَرَنِي أَنْ أُطَلِّقُهَا وَرَفَضْتُ. He said, and my father didn't like her. So he told me to divorce her and I refused. So he told the Prophet. And he told me to come. He said, did you really refuse to divorce a woman your father told you to divorce? You better go divorce that woman. And so he divorced her. And the Umar came back to her. The Prophet said, he divorced her while she's on a haid. He said, go take her back, man. You can't do that. Most people only remember that part of the hadith. That you can't divorce the woman when she's on a haid. So he took her back, waited till she was cured, and then he divorced her later on. But is that a strange hadith? Oh man, that's not enough. Well, what do we say about Ibrahim? With Ismail, he told his son to divorce his wife too, right?
No.
We see the rights of the parents there, right? This is what my point is right there. But my point with the Asians now, first I was showing that that's an usl in the deen. Okay? They worship their parents. They bring food to their grave and flowers, which they should, and give some respect to that. What do you think they're going to happen? You think they're going to let it go? In Japan, you can see the burnt, scorched out shadows of the people who died from the nuclear explosion. They have never changed it. They want you to remember it. Okay? They're going to remember that. So, there's going to be some difference in what Japan just did recently. They became strategic partners with Turkey. The same people they was in bed with right before the war. They became so everybody's going back to what there was. And Turkey's in a strategic partner with Germany. Okay? Ain't nothing changed but the date. You know, and the amount of people that understand what's going on. You get my point?
No.
These issues are important because they deal with global safety. But there's another issue I want to point to. Sometimes people come to me and say, Abu Talba, you're a racist. You're talking about, you know, Afrocentricity in Islam. It ain't got no place. Really? You know, I got to say it like the kids do. Really? You know how racist that is? How blind that is? When we talk about Kashmir, we talk about an ethnic group, right? Don't we talk about Kashmir? When we talk about Philistine, nobody says nobody's racist then. When we talk about Syria, you get my point? When we talk about the Uyghur people in China, when we talk about the people in Southeast India, you know what I'm saying, that are having the problems in Burma, old Burma, we don't say there's racism there. But when I say Africa, we say, oh no, now you racist? And this is, I'm saying, coming from African people. Not African just from the continent, but African people here. Everybody else understands it. Again, this is this inferiority complex that people have on their head. That they don't see themselves worthy of fixing it. And I'll show you even more detail. When we look at the people of Philistine, because that's the biggest example. Isn't that right, Abdullah? I'll keep picking on you today. Let me hear your voice, man.
He's a teacher.
MashaAllah, Baraka, Malim.
Retired teacher.
Retired, it's even better. So you know the rules. But teachers, sometimes teachers make the worst students, man. I was teaching a bunch of teachers in India, and they was giving me the hardest time. They were like, teacher, you know I'm tired. Man, I don't care. We had just 3 classes, and we did. So that's sometimes what it is. So let's look at it. Why do we say Philistine is a big issue? Anybody? Yes, sir.
Because of
Not wise.
because of the Jews killing off the Muslims.
Because the Jews killing the Muslims, that's only part of it. What's the major issue for Philistine? Land. Okay? Because why are the Jews? Reasons, results. Okay? Why are they killing them? They're killing them to take their land. So we see that's the same issue with Kashmir, isn't it? Okay? Is it the same issue in Syria? They want to take over and say, no, we don't want you to govern it. We want to govern it, right? So, someone losing their land, a group of people getting forced off their land, and this is seriously what happened in between Vietnam and Laos. The Chum people on the border who were Muslim. Okay? Hey, you guys be quiet and get your sister out of there. So now losing their land became an issue, and an Islamic issue, because that ethnic group was losing their land because of it was their traditional place, right? Is that fair? Yes or no, guys?
Yeah.
So then why isn't that an issue for African Americans? Haven't you lost your land?
No.
You get my point? And what else do we talk about? In Syria, the family's getting broken up, right?
No.
We always talk about, haven't your family been broken up? It's been broken up. You don't even know what Kabila you come from. Where any African, any person besides an African American could not imagine not knowing what they were. You get my point?
No.
Could you imagine not knowing where you're from? I'm asking you seriously. You could not imagine how, you can't even You're so whittled at it. How could you be a person and not know what you are? And then how could that not be something pressing on your head? You guys get my point?
Nah.
So that's also an issue then, right? So we have those issues right there. Not only did you lose your land, you lost your place, right? Your identity and Kabila and stuff like that, which also means you lost your wealth and those other things. See, so there's all these issues here, Islamic issues, that are showing why you need to learn about why, how to correct that situation so we can get back in line. It doesn't take much, especially nowadays. Okay? You just have to feel worthy of it. Because no one is stopping you from doing it today. Except you. And if there's a thing about not knowing how, well, contact me. And that's for the people online. We can show you, we have a process we help you walk through. In order to begin, because that's where you're supposed to start, with knowledge of yourself. Okay? And then build on that asas, that foundation. Okay?
No.
All right. If, by Rudyard Kipling. Read it to me again.
If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you.
Okay, so the first line is that the person keeps his cool, right?
Right.
Allah says, وَعِبَادُ الرَّحْمَنِ الَّذِينَ يَمْشُونَ عَلَى الْأَرْضِ هَوْنًا. Right? The slaves of Rahman are those who walk on the earth, hawnan. The ulama, when they talk about hawnan, they talk about a person who has no kibr. He has no arrogance. He has no pride about himself. He has dignity, but no pride. Does that make sense?
No.
Go ahead.
If you can trust yourself when all men doubt you,
but make allowance for their doubting too.
Allah says in the Quran, Allah says, Inna Allah ya'muru bil adli wal ihsan. Right? Allah commands you to do what? Justice, and to work and do things in an excellent fashion. Allah's messenger, Inna Allah qad kataba ala kulli shay'in ihsanan. Allah's messenger said in the 40 hadith al-Nawawi, Allah has written in everything ihsan. So if you slaughter something mundane like slaughtering an animal, then you sharpen your shafratahu, sharpen your sword, turihu dhibihatakum, and make the animal go easy. Learn your skill, right? So you can trust yourself. Okay? Practice makes improvement. You get my point?
No.
Go ahead.
if you can wait, tired of waiting.
Allah uses the word sabr in the Quran over 90 times. He mentions the word sabr. Sabr does not mean sitting around waiting in the American style. Sabr means being persevering, falling down, getting up, falling down, getting up, falling down, getting up, and getting up, and getting up. Does that make sense?
No.
Every day, Allah's messenger said, you get up in the morning, yahdu, and you either buying or selling yourself to shaitan, or buying your hereafter with your dunya. Striving, and at the end of the day, you all feel it. Did I feel that 60-second, that unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of something, right? Or did I watch TV all day? Or did I, play on the internet all day? Or talk too much? Or sleep too much? Or just procrastinate and not get anything done? And my life is now defined by that. Does that make sense?
No.
So we don't get tired by waiting. We keep on persevering. Okay? Allah says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu isbiru wa sabiru wa rabitu. Okay? Just keep striving. Don't give up. And be ready. And be ready. Don't look for the opportunity. Be ready for the opportunity. So that when it comes, you're ready. اغتنم خمسا قبل خمس. Take advantage of 5 before 5. Keep going.
If you can.
Stop whispering at me. Come on, recite it.
Or being lied about and don't deal in lies.
Or being lied about, you don't deal in lie. The Allah's messenger said that the believer could steal. The believer might commit zina, but the believer's not going to lie. Okay? We're not going to lie. It's beneath us. Does that make sense?
No.
Go ahead.
Or being hated, don't give way to hate.
Okay, it's from our deen. Look how Ibrahim was with his father. His father said, I'll kill you if you mention that again. And he said, Astaghfirullah. I'm going to seek forgiveness for you. He didn't get angry at his father, right? He showed him a lot of gentleness. We hate the crime, not the criminal. We recognize that the crime is sickening the criminal, and so the criminal becomes a sick person. Do you kill a sick person?
No.
Or do you extract the disease? You guys get my point?
No.
So we get taught with this kafir mentality to hate the person. Nah, man. Hate the disease. Focus on the disease. Go ahead.
If you can.
Louder.
And yet don't look too good nor talk too wise.
You don't forget that you're human, okay? You're not being sanctimonious. Allah's Messenger said that inna likulli abdin dhanbun. Every slave except illa wa lahu dhanb. There is no slave except that he commits a sin. This is Allah's Messenger said, every one of you all, and myself included, is a sinner. We commit sins. Fainatan ba'da faina. Time after time. Or he has a sin that he doesn't leave it until he leaves the dunya. Okay? Allah, he says that Allah created us sinful and forgetful. وَإِذَا ذُكِرَ ذَكَرَ. But when he is reminded, he remembers. وَلَمْ يَخِرُّ. Okay? He doesn't act like he doesn't hear. وَهُمْ يَعْلَمُونَ وَهُمْ يَسْمَعُونَ. They hear. Allah says, we're going to go through it, Surah Furqan. He says, they don't pretend. عُمْيَانٍ وَعُمْيَانٍ. Open up the Musaf, Surah Furqan, please. Yes. Okay. And it says here, وَالَّذِينَ إِذَا ذُكِّرُوا بِآيَاتِ رَبِّهِمْ لَمْ يَخِرُّوا عَلَيْهَا سُمًّا وَبُكْيَانًا سُمًّا وَعُمْيَانًا. And those when they hear إِذَا ذُكِّرُوا بِآيَاتِ رَبِّهِمْ, when they're reminded about the ayat of Allah, لَمْ يَخِرُّوا عَلَيْهَا سُمًّا وَعُمْيَانًا. They don't pretend that they can't hear and they don't see it. You guys get the point?
No.
So we as slaves, that's why, they don't look too good nor talk too wise. Regular dude, because you commit a sin time and time again, or you do sins and, you don't just get busted, right? So when you're reminded, you remember. Okay? Get my point?
No.
Go on, next line. Quickly, guys.
If you can dream and not make dreams your master.
Okay, this is a very important talk. If you can dream and not make dreams your
Master.
What does that mean? Don't give me your left hand. Go ahead, son. Okay, no, that's not how it goes. You don't put your hand up and then when you're called on, then think about what you want to say. You think about what you want to say and then you put your hand up.
Don't get lost in your dreams.
Your father bailed you out. Okay? What does that mean?
Act.
Okay, don't make the subject just dreaming.
No.
Yes, sir.
The goal is to dreaming. The lessons along the way are
Say it again, say it louder.
The dreams are the goal. The lessons along the way are the masters.
The dreams are the goals, and what else?
The lessons along the way are the masters.
No. But the dreams are the goals. Okay? One of the people said that you should listen to your dreams. Every morning you should get up and listen to it. Is this a newfangled thing? No, the Prophet said it. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He used to come up the Fajr and say, has anybody have a dream? Let's hear it. Anybody have a dream? So what we learn from that, and what the psychologists learn from that, they say every morning, that's why you shouldn't get on your stupid phone. I said it right. It's not a smartphone. What is phone is why we just doing that, right? I'm teasing. But look, you shouldn't jump on your phone. Why? Because they say you got certain type of clarity in that first early morning that you don't have all day. Right? The Prophet said that too, though. It's not just for them. He said, there's a bukur, baraka fi bukurikum. I forget how it says. But in English, it would mean you're going to have blessings in your bukur, in your early morning time. Okay? Your early morning is going to be blessed. When you wake up, instead of getting on those electronic things, think about, what did I dream about? Because that's vital. If the dream was ugly and bad, then it's usually from shaitan. If it had some anxiety about the dunya, but it wasn't so bad, then that's from yourself. If it was good, it's from Allah. How many people took from their dreams and then invented things? Okay? From their dreams. Why? Because your brain moves more, works harder when you are sleeping than it does when you're awake. Okay? Just like the guy who lifts weights. Is his muscles getting stronger while he's lifting weights? No, they're not while he's lifting weights. When is his muscles growing?
We rest.
When he rests. So you're taking in all this information all day. When is it getting filtered and understood? When you sleep. So you wake up with clarity. You get it? You understand things better now. So you get up in the morning, think about, what did I dream about? And how was that impacting on my life? How should I apply that? Okay? And not just make it, oh, I had a great dream. No, I'm dreaming about that and I'm working on it. And then some of the ulama said, don't tell certain people your dreams. Why? Where did we learn that from? Thank you. From Surah to Yusuf. Because people with limited vision will hate you for your dream. You get my point? So Yusuf told someone he could tell his dream, which is his father. Right? But his father told him, no, I don't tell that to nobody else. Because some people, because they don't have that vision, will try to stop you from having your dreams. So you have to be very, very careful of who you share your even good dreams with. Because they might underbridge you just because you shouldn't have a good dream like that, according to them. You guys get me?
No.
But the point is, listen to your dreams. That's part of Islam. Don't just get up and run into the dunya. Serious. Take your time and get more done. Have a more fulfilling time in that regard. The person that doesn't have any dreams, sad individual. It's going to lead to his insanity. Those people who take drugs and I don't have no dream, they go crazy. Okay? So, keep going.
If
you can think and not make
thoughts your aim.
When we have these people who want to be academic, you find this with academics sometimes. They argue till the argument is wrapped around the axle. Or we call it in big business when you write a memo that by the time you publish it, it's just too complicated. It ain't going to make no sense to apply it. You get my point? It's not applicable. Life has to be applicable. There has to be tatbiq, a way to do it. Not complicated? No, sophisticated. You know, you can't do it. You can't get it done. So just thinking about things, that's not the goal. The goal is to act. You guys get my point? Keep going.
If you can meet with triumph and disaster.
If you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat both these two imposters, key word, just the same. The Prophet ﷺ told us what a beautiful situation is the believer. If something happens that he likes, what does he say? If something happens that he doesn't like, what does he say? And this is not the case except for the believer. He meets triumph and disaster and he treats both these imposters just the same. Why is it an imposter? Because it's the dunya. What does the word dunya mean? No, it doesn't mean world. No, it doesn't mean illusion. But it's closer to that than it means world. It doesn't mean that either. The word dani means cheap. Okay? Something cheap. What does it mean if you bought something cheap? It's not gonna last. That's what dunya means. Dunya means the cheap, temporary existence. Time was created because this world is cheap. Even the moment doesn't last. Hence time. You guys get the point?
No.
Nothing in this world was created, meaning kuddira, designed by Allah to last. Kullu man alayha fan. Louder, man. Écoutez. Fan. Everything on this earth is going to fade away and disintegrate. So then why are you worried about something that was happening before? It's done. You get my point?
No.
The moment you had, you can't really keep that moment because it's already over. And that's why we treat both those two imposters just the same. Does that make sense? No. Anyway, keep going, guys.
If you can bear his truth spoken, twisted by name, and made a
to make a trap for fools. Okay? Does it mean those people are really fools? No. It means that they are naive. They don't know the real deal. Right? Me and so, we had a situation. I'm making believe. Okay? And then I go and I say, man, you should have seen what that guy did. He said, oh, man, did he? Oh, astaghfirullah. And now we ain't talking to him. You get it? He said X, Y, Z. It's got to be taken in context, right? But you don't know that. That's why we shouldn't judge in those situations, right? Even the Prophet Dawood was told what? Now, we're taught the lesson. You hear one side, don't even make a judgment. There's a prophet. He said he had 99, animals, and the other one had one, and he wanted to take my one. Of course, that's extreme, right? And still, you got to listen to both sides. If you a judge, and if you ain't judging, it ain't none of your business. It's not important, not urgent, not your responsibility. You guys get my point?
No.
So, also we find from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, did he respond to everybody that said something about him? No. People saying, oh, he's this, he's that. Nah. Look at Hassan al-Basri. When people talk bad about Hassan al-Basri, what did he do, rahimahullah? The famous Sheikh, Zahid. What did he do? He would send them a gift, a thank you letter. He said, I'm not happy for you. You talk bad about me. Barakallahu fikum. He said, why? He said, man, if it wasn't for the fact that I don't like that people will disobey Allah, I would wish that everybody would backbite and slander me for the great reward I'm going to get for Yawm al-Qiyamah. You believe in Allah? Then Allah said, Allah udi'u amala amilin minkum min dhakarin aw untha. Then ain't nobody getting away with nothing. I'm going to reward everybody for everything they got. Allah is just. And you believe in the mizan? So then what you worried about? If they owe you, then go. And also there's another thing we learned from Chinese again, from the art of war and everything, is that there's nobody that gets great except that he has people for him and people what? Against him. So having people against you is part of the signs of knowing that you're doing something good. You get my point? So when you see you got these, you say, hey man, I must be on the way.
Love your haters.
Hey, and so he said, love your haters. There's a rule to that. The rule with listening to your haters is for self-reflection. Why? Because they hate you. So they're going to try to say the most hurtful things about you that are true. Okay? So you want to correct something, they're going to try to find something that's truthful. They may expand upon it, they may go out, but they may say something that has some inkling of truth. So you need to hear that. So you can say, okay, well that's right, let me correct that. Let me correct that about myself. You get my point? Sometimes you can get the best advice from your enemies. Sometimes you can get the best advice from them. But you have to self-reflect and be honest about yourself. Did what they say true? And what did Catherine the Great say? She was the Empress of Russia. She said we have to, in order for that Russian Empire to be great, she said we need, what is our plan? We need to make our Russian boys, we need to train them to hear things they don't like to hear. And then we'll be great. To bear, right? Go ahead. Louder.
Or watch the things you gave your life to broken and stoop down and worn out too.
Or watch the things you gave your life to broken and then stoop and build them up with
Worn out too.
because you can't afford the good tools. You don't got the same technology, right? But does that stop you from working? What a lot of people say, oh, when I get some money, I'm going. You ain't never going to get no money with that attitude. You get my point? Oh, when this, that, thing, or what does the captain say? When I hit the lottery, right? They're always waiting for something else to happen to live. Waiting for something to happen to do and practice your dreams when you're not even promised tomorrow, right? Stop waiting and do it, inshallah, with worn out tools, with whatever you got. Do your level best. وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. What Allah has provided them with, that's what they use. You get my point? So we're not going to sit there and focus on what happened. We're going to get on. Because other people, they spend the rest of their life saying, you know what I used to have? Did you know I used to have this? And then, yo, you see they did what they did to me? Oh, man. Yeah, man, I used to have this, that, and the other thing. They spend their whole life doing that. And no time building, rebuilding. Right? Will Smith said it back real good back in there. We did it before, and we could do it again. If you did it before, you can do it again. Ain't no big thing. Small thing to a mental giant. Okay? Does that make sense?
No.
Go ahead.
If you can make
one heap of all your
Louder!
If you make one heap of all your winnings, risk it in one turn of pitch and toss.
And lose.
And start again at your beginning. And never breathe a word about your loss.
Okay, so here it goes. If you can make a heap of all your winnings everything you beg, borrow, and not steal, but you beg, borrow, and finagle whatever monies you can get, whatever resources you can get together, and you risk it on this one gamble, okay? Whatever that gamble is. You thought it was going to work this time, and you lose. It didn't work out. What do?
Keep banging.
You keep banging. You get up and start again. As long as it's not Friday and there's no smoke, you good. Because that's the last day. Okay? Right, and the sun is you know what I'm saying? The sun is rising in the east. You know, you are all right. You're going to get another chance. As long as you're not dead. We talk about the man who killed 100 people. What did he do? Did he quit? Did he give up? Nah, he kept trying. And on the way, he died. And he got credit for it all. Right? So, it's not where you end up. It's how you go about doing it. The kuffar teaches the means that the ends justify the means. Do whatever you want as long as you have a good end. Nah, that's kafir. Muslim is the means have to be righteous in order to have a good end. Does that make sense? No. So if you lose, then you start again at your beginnings, wherever the beginning is, and never breathe a word about your loss. Why you don't breathe a word? You don't focus on that. Your feet are facing forward, not behind. That's the direction you go. And you need to spend all your focus on looking at where you're going, not what you lost. Now people say, well, what are you talking about? You just talked about history. Yeah. You got to know where you came from in order to know what direction you're going. That way you don't walk around in circles. You get my point? That way you don't fall into the same hole twice. Does that make sense? No. You got to learn from your mistakes and from others' mistakes too, in order for you to be successful. But your feet are forward. You don't sit there and whine about it. You're studying it so you can learn from it and step on top of it. You get my point, people? Yeah. You should feel the honor, and back to our people, we should feel the honor of how many people's shoulders we're standing on to get where we are today. To even have this musalla here today.